We're here at Question Everything, the Lockdown Science Conference in a good old English pub. We're taking a break for a moment. And we have Toby here, and I want to ask you guys a question. What's the most egregious thing or set of things in this whole debacle of anti-science that has been the response to coronavirus?
I think certainly one of the most egregious things has been the way in which dissenting voices in the science public health world have been silenced, systematically silenced, both by their colleagues and their institutions, but also by the mainstream media and by social media companies, YouTube, Google and so forth. I think I've been monitoring censorship for some time. I helped set up the Free Speech Union in February of last year to stand up for the speech rights of academics and others. And it used to be a big problem in the humanities and to a slightly lesser extent the social sciences, but the hard sciences weren't as affected by cancel culture as other branches of the academy. But in the past 15, 16 months, we've seen that censorious Maoist intolerance creep beyond the grievance studies departments into the hard sciences. And given how important science is for all sorts of reasons, that's a really sinister and dangerous development.
Absolutely agreed, Toby.
Yeah, I think I completely agree, and also just the invincibility of the official narrative to any contrary data and facts. Anything that contradicts it just doesn't make any headway. It just doesn't have any impact on it. And it doesn't matter how many newspapers or scientists or professors will put it out there, put it in peer-reviewed journals, just put it on Twitter, just on in the newspapers, on the TV. It doesn't matter how many people pointed out that the data and the facts do not back up the official narrative. It just doesn't seem to dent the story that they keep churning out, they keep putting out, and the panic and the fear. And I think that's that is for me one of the most egregious aspects. It just seems completely unresponsive to facts and data.
Excellent. And agreed again, 100%.
What did you call it earlier? Luxury opinions.
Luxury opinions. Yeah.
Yeah. I think luxury beliefs. This is it, isn't it? It's the ability to wear one's conscience on the outside rather than wear it on the inside, where it belongs, as Margaret Thatcher used to go on about. I think that's the most egregious thing, is that you can change the way an entire nation lives its life just by virtue signalling. You can demand a following based around your own perception of your own virtue, and then impose it on other people, usually from a position actually of the things that no politician is interested in anymore, which is social inequality. So all of these measures have impacted the poorest and most vulnerable in society. None of them have affected us, who get our Waitrose Ocados delivered by a guy and who get our Amazon parcels delivered. And I think essentially it's the Red Sea, Black Sea, our Dutchers. We sit and we wait for people to bring us shit, and we don't want any plebs interrupting the view down to the beach, when we're going to stroll down later with our children who are hold very, very woke opinions because they've never met someone from a different social class. And actually, we need to. What's the point of politics? It's to address social inequality. That's the point of politics. It's not to address some fucking imagined pigment inequality. It doesn't exist as well, sorry, but it doesn't. 0 to 30. Black, white, gender pay gap, ethnic pay gap. Look it up. Doesn't exist.
Well, there you are. And of course, we've greatly enriched the corporates and the top tiny slice percentage. We've seen the trillions of dollars move from the poorest to the richest. So I guess it's achieving the aims of someone. Toby, actually, I might just finish because this is I'm going to get back to drinking. Your soliloquy there on the people who have no skin in the game. Maybe just give a quick version of that.
I spoke earlier about how I thought that one of the similarities between wokeism and lockdownism is that they both involve expressing what this sociology PhD student at Cambridge called Rob Henderson calls luxury beliefs. And a luxury belief is a belief which it costs you nothing to express. It makes you sound virtuous and like a good, conscientious, concerned person. but costs you nothing. So in the case of wokery, for instance, you might be a tenured Ivy League professor who advocates defunding the police. Won't cost you anything because you can rely on private campus security. You live in an affluent suburb. If there's a lower police presence in your neighbourhood, it doesn't mean you're more likely to get robbed. Similarly, with lockdowns, the people who are the most enthusiastic about them, at least initially, the leaders of the lockdown movement, have been people who it costs nothing to work from home, to give up some of the freedoms that for ordinary people are enormously expensive. And what makes luxury beliefs attractive isn't just that it costs you nothing to profess them, but the fact that they cost you nothing signals that you are a member of a high status group. So if you say, I don't mind working from home, doesn't bother me, that's a way of telling people that you live in a nice house, you have a garden, you have great Wi-Fi, you have the latest computer equipment. Of course you don't mind because you're a member of a high status group. And a lot of it seems to be almost semi-consciously professing your belief in lockdowns as a way of conveying that you are a member of the international kind of liberal elite. You are a Davos man.
Is it almost that they're the exact thing they accuse you of? Do you think?
What do you mean?
Well, the fact that these people are advocating for more and more restrictions on you while ignoring the restrictions themselves. So so in actual fact, they are advocating for more social inequality, more poverty, more suffering. So to redefine what is the elite is someone that likes stamping on the non-elite in order to maintain the elite, and it's, as you said earlier, non-meritocratic.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly very striking that the left have developed a complete blind spot about the impact of the lockdown policy on the least well-off. You'd think that here would be an opportunity for the left, which is quite moribund, grasping around for issues and ideas. Here's surely a perfect issue for the left. Here's a policy endorsed by elites around the world. They've become enriched for the most part. The highest earning 1% have earned much more money in the last 16 months than they did in the previous year. Their assets have increased in value. Their status has largely been enhanced. They go on TV even more often than they used to. And the people who've suffered from this policy that they've all been advocating have been the least well off. It doesn't seem to occur to members of SAGE, let alone members of independent SAGE, that when they say, we have to have school closures, let's go back to homeschooling children. Because, of course, if their children are at private school or if they can homeschool their own children, then there's not really any price to pay for advocating that policy. But if you live at the top of a tower block, you're a single mother with 3 kids, you have pretty poor Wi-Fi, only one working computer, no experience of actually home educating your children, it's an absolute catastrophe. And yet they have a complete blind spot about it. I mean, it's extraordinary. If I was a member of the left, I'd be even more opposed to lockdowns than I am.
Yeah, well, and in Ireland, just to give an Irish flavour, pampered academics on our taxes, right? Big salaries, enormous pensions. We see the assistant professors and all their ilk getting up on television every night telling us we need to hide under the bed. And it's exactly, Toby, as you describe. So I guess to close, maybe we'll drink a toast to the 99% and the people who actually do all the real work.
Yeah, key workers.
Hey!
And thank you.
And to British and Irish all working peacefully together.
Oh my God, that's a new one. Get Ben Habib on for that one.
Well, I just thought I'd throw that in there. I'm controversial. Okay. Don't forget to subscribe and also to hit that little bell icon to make sure you're informed and get to counter some of the more corporate style science that's out there. So all the links are in the description box below, and also really appreciate all my PayPal and Patreon supporters and anyone else who can continue to support me to provide all the material that I do. It's highly appreciated. So thank you.